there. Let's see, today I am 11 and a half weeks, but I wanted to document some of the funnier stuff that's kind of happened through this pregnancy already. One was at about, I was actually at like 5 weeks, like 5.5 weeks. I thought I was 6.5, but it was actually like 5.5. We were in Georgia, and my husband and I are both groomers, so we were helping a husband and wife team out in Georgia because she just had hip surgery. And I'd agreed to this, and my husband had agreed to this prior to us finding out that we were pregnant. So, I'm figuring, it'll be fine, early pregnancy, whatever. So, we're down there, and I just, I think the second or third day, I think I was just so exhausted that, or maybe the morning sickness really just did hit me that hard. It probably did, because for quite a few weeks after that, I still felt really sick. But, and I don't mean to, be a Debbie Downer, I think it's funny now, but, we were all working on, these 3 American Eskimos, if you know what that kind of dog that is. It's it's a medium-sized little fluffy white dog, and they're very hairy, not supposed to get a haircut hairy like a Bichon or a Shih Tzu, but big fluffy hairy, and kind of like golden retriever hairy, but more hair. So I finished the first one, and her husband had already washed the second one, the second one, and the third one was romping around in the rig, and he took the first one in, and I had to shave it down really short because it was matted. It was a puppy, and so I went ahead and I went to put on, it's called a guard comb, or a double decker, there's many names for it. But I didn't realize that metal ones you can't put over a 40, because I'd never really used a metal comb before, metal snap-on comb. And so, not that I didn't have a 30 or 35, but I'm used to using 40s under mine. So I went ahead and I snapped it on, and I was feeling so bad. I was constipated, and I was feeling like I was going to throw up, and I was just so uncomfortable and bloated and just horrible. And I was hungry on top of it, but I didn't want to eat because I felt like I was going to throw up. So I went ahead and I snapped it on, and I just heard, duck, 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 and I was like, what is this? And I handed my clippers over to my husband Devin, and I was like, what just happened? And he popped it off, and he goes, oh yeah, this is just effed. And I was like, oh. And I didn't know what to say, and my brain just kind of overloaded, and I took it back from him, and I just stood there for a second, and I think I had the blade in one hand and the clipper in the other one, and I just couldn't stop crying. It just broke. I just broke down, and I just had tears just streaming down my face, just like a little waterfall, just whoosh, and I couldn't stop crying, and I was just so miserable. And her husband, the groomer's husband, came back, and he had washed the third one now, and the second one was dry, and I was trying to, groom, and I just couldn't stop crying. And her husband was like, do you want to go home? And I was like, yeah, and I'm just crying and crying. He goes, okay, we'll take you home. And so we put one dog in, they put the 2 in, back inside the house, and the one dog was still wet. And we went back to the house after we stopped for gas, and they asked if I wanted a biscuit, and I was like, no. And they're like, what kind of biscuit do you want? Do you want sausage or ham? And I'm like, ham. And I'm crying. I'm probably crying for 30 minutes at least. So yeah, we get back home, and my husband's trying to comfort me, because now he's got to go back out with the husband and wife, to finish the day, because obviously, they still need help. And now I'm crying because I feel so bad. And her husband came upstairs and he had found a 4-leaf clover and he gave it to me to try to make me feel better, which made me cry harder. And I'm sitting in the bathroom and my husband leaves with them. And I'm just sitting there with a ham biscuit, just eating the ham biscuit, crying, sitting next to the toilet. And I was so unhappy. And now I look back and I'm like, why was I crying so hard? I've never cried that hard in my life, and now it's just hysterical. So there was that. That was pretty comical, and I'm really, despite that, by the way, I'm just so happy we went there because it was so worth it. They're just wonderful, wonderful people. If you couldn't tell from their reaction to me bawling my eyes out and unable to work, even though I promised them I would, they were just wonderful, awesome people, and So yeah, so also another story. This just happened just this week. So I had a migraine and I didn't want to take Tylenol, because I'd rather try whatever else I can. Tried sleeping it off, didn't work. And it's probably from the barometric pressure changes. So I'm like, well, I'm in trouble. So I decided, okay, I'll have a can of pop. 1 can, the caffeine should help. I'd rather do that than Tylenol. So I go ahead and I drink some pop, and I'm sitting there, and I'm watching TV, and my head's just throbbing, and I'm like, alright, I'm done. I've had enough. This isn't cool. And so I went and laid down in the dark room, in our bedroom, and turned, the lights are off, and I'm laying there, it's finally starting to help a little bit, and it's easing up, and all of a sudden, it feels like I have a little Mexican jumping bean in there. She's going crazy. I'm guessing because the caffeine just, got her going. She's more active at night, too, so that helped, I'm assuming. But yeah, she was just going crazy. I couldn't believe how much she was moving around in there. It was just absolutely nuts. It was just constant, and just these bursts and pulses. And I'm like, alright. And then, of course, my husband comes in and I'm like, here, feel. Mind you, I'm 11 weeks. 10 and a half to 11 weeks. And, of course, as soon as he starts to, feel around, she stops. So I'm like, oh, we're starting this early. Alright, cool. So that was pretty cool. And then, most recently, it was the night before last, I felt like something was pushing my insides out. That's the only way I can explain it. If my stomach was open, all my insides would just fall out because somebody was pushing them out. And I was holding my stomach because I felt like it was just gonna fall out if I didn't hold on to it. So then I woke up in the morning. And, because I figured, you know what, I'm just going to go to bed, and since I'm uncomfortable, maybe it'll pass, and I'll be okay in the morning. So I woke up, and I'd pretty much doubled in size. So I guess she just needed more room in there. But yeah, so I'm, showing quite a bit more now, which I thought is pretty funny. So yeah, she just kind of decided, I need more room. I'm just going to make my way out. And she is here. She is on my right side. I've been taking pictures on my left side. I don't know why, because it's kind of dumb, because she's on my right. She's right about here. But yeah. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. I basically exploded overnight. So yeah, I just wanted to share my weird experiences and laugh about them, because they're kind of funny to me. So... But yeah, I'm sure I'll have plenty more since it's my first pregnancy and everything's all new and magical. So, I hope you had a laugh, and catch you later.